Kent, great to see you. What's happening in the construction world today?
Danya, Construction World 101 is alive and well today. Things that are important, things that you want to track, KPIs, things that you feel like everybody should be on the same page. So I've had an ongoing discussion with one of the owners in regards to SG&A, Sales General Administrative Expense, on how to allocate it against the shop hours, blah blah blah. Anyway, so during the course of that discussion, is as often as I would repeat myself and as often as we would engage over 2 or 3 week period about this, I never felt like he grasped it. I always felt like he was actually had a different opinion or an opposed opinion. And using all the English, all the oxygen I had, it didn't feel like I ever got a breakthrough. What I was looking for was this aha, I got it. I hear what you're saying. I know what you mean. And I never got there, but I want to back up just a little bit. In the last conversation, then, when I tried to explain yet again how I thought that allocation should occur, he said, "Well, let me just take a run at formatting, calculating this, and having some for a big job that we have coming up. Let me see how we could allocate that." So, okay, fine. I'm out of oxygen. Assumed, he would go and expend a bunch of energy that was not beneficial. What I saw come back was that he actually understood what I was saying. The spreadsheet that he created was spot on and revealed that he did understand what I was saying. And I brought up to him, I said, "Well, you know, this is great to see. I always felt like we weren't really connecting on this. We weren't really seeing eye to eye on this." And he said, I thought we were connected. I thought we agreed, but we just were saying it differently. But to me, for 3 weeks, I just felt frustrated. Like he doesn't understand the importance of this. He doesn't grasp the concept of this. He doesn't see how those allocations should really work. And yet he did.
People solve problems differently. We all bring different natural preferences to the table when we solve problems. We have learned through our work together that you are an implementer, right?
Correct. Yep.
That's right. Let's get it done. Doesn't matter necessarily what it is, but let's get something done. So that's one way of solving problems. Another way is to have lots of ideas, and an ideator, somebody like myself, would actually say, I have an idea. So people give signs as to how they problem solve. In this instance, it may be that the person in question is the type of a problem solver who may not say, I have an idea, or I know how to get this done, or let me tinker with this, but would rather go away and do the work and keep the harmony of the group by not making too much noise about it, but just simply getting on with it. The point here is that people show up as different types of problem solvers. And so this kind of suggests also the need and the value of leaning in. And when we're talking about leaning in, what we're really saying in this instance is to resist the premature judgment of perhaps saying, oh, he doesn't know what I'm talking about, or he doesn't get it, or I'm out of air with this guy, rather than, maybe he's understanding this differently. Now, if you want to make sure that he understands or you are on the same page, that would bring you to clarifying questions. So, to recap this conversation, could you clarify what you understood, or could we just have a clarification on how we might proceed before you go and do the work? Would something like that help in an instance like this?
Yeah. Rather than go away and feel defeated or, just just yeah, defeated, I guess is the word. Like I've tried all the words I know. I've spent my oxygen. My brain cells are fried. I didn't get what I thought I needed was this harmony, this aha. If I was able to say, tell me what did we learn out of this conversation? No, I don't even like that. But to
Well,
clarify.
there's lots of ways to say it. I mean, so the guy understood it, but you didn't realize that he did understand it, right? So you then need to clarify. You need to say, is there clarity here? Are we on the same page? And there's lots of language you could use. Hey, let's just check in like So the next step would be, or what do you see yourself doing, or what is the next step here in your estimation? I mean, there's lots of ways where you can ask a question for gathering information back for him without being sort of, too immature about it, or I don't know if that's the right word, but too underdeveloped. Does that make sense?
It does, and trying to come up with those words because what he took away and brought back was what what we needed and proved that there was harmony. Had he not brought back the spreadsheet that verified that he heard, that he understood, I would have felt and continued with that frustration
Mm.
on to the next week and the next week. So yes, opening up. So first thing I think is even while I'm explaining, asking clarifying questions.
Hmm.
While I think I'm giving direction, ask these clarifying questions because maybe I'm beating on the drum he already understands. Maybe I'm already trying to say something that he's already grasped.
Or you wanted to make sure that you understood what you think he understood, or maybe what he didn't understand. That's clarification.
So one of the things is it's great, when you're quote the boss, right? Which just, nobody likes really being the boss. I mean, come on. But on the other hand, I mean, we all want to build teams, right? We don't want to be the sole leader of a single army, right? Like no, we want to create teams. The more I would have stepped back into clarity, probably would have solved my consternation. What happened is I'm an implementer and I'm saying, no, this is how you
Hmm.
allocate those hours. And why can't you understand that? This is how you do it. And to get that eye connection that says, aha, I got it. Uh, a lot of times somebody will say, hey, got it, got it, got it.
Hmm.
Let me go do this. But I didn't get that got it. What I got was more maybe verbalization of something that I couldn't really resonate with. I got something that didn't just give me that aha, looking in his eyes and he does understand and we're on the same page. When he went away, I really thought let him go do his thing, when I see the spreadsheet or whatever, then I can maybe have a better conversation. Turns out they didn't need a better conversation. Case closed. Look, we're on the same page. Now let's move on to this big project that we needed to be lockstep on the cost, the cost benefits of that project. And so once we knew that, oh, we are on the same page. Oh, made it easy. But it's the hard thing for an implementer. So here's how I feel. It's a hard thing for an implementer if in communication there isn't that aha, there isn't that eye contact that says, me and you are together on this, right? We see it the same way. To walk away from something and feel like it's half baked, misunderstood, for an implementer, that's disconcerting.
Well, and as it should be. In this instance, it sounds like it worked out fine. However, that gap of anxiety had every opportunity to not work out, which would have been a waste of your time, his time, and created some more frustration. So now that you know you are an implementer and you are aware that there are different types of problem solving preferences out there, that other person may not give you as an implementer what it is you're looking for, in which case you do want to ask clarifying questions. Are you good? Are we on the same page? You feel like you got it? Do you have any more questions? Are you ready to run with it? Any kind of language that you can give as the leader to help get that sense of we have common ground here will help you. Knowing again, where are you in the problem? We have to clarify the challenge here. Is it clear? Yes, it is. Or if you were to even know, okay, this guy is an integrator, as an example, then you would already say, well, he's not going to necessarily even give me some feedback. So this is a question of knowing your audience, but knowing your audience as problem solvers, your team as problem solvers, rather than personalities or any other measure, because how they solve problems is really what's going to make things run more smoothly or create more strife.
Yeah, so now, I even as you're explaining that, which is so true, one of the things that, I wondered is even if we disagreed or he didn't understand or we didn't have a mutual understanding, it would have been fine for him to come back and say, look, maybe I disagree with this fundamentally. Let me play with it for a day and let me see if I can explain to you what I'm thinking. That would have been fine. because then I would have known where are we at in the problem. But when you leave, so go back to the word ambiguity. If you leave the conversation and you feel like it's still unsolved, is still mired in mud, then you really walk away feeling uneasy, unsure, frustrated. But even if we didn't necessarily agree, if we would have said, got to the point, okay, yeah, you go play with that for 24 hours, 48 hours. Let's see where this leads us. I would have been open to,
Mm.
yet maybe a different idea. We would have still had a favorable meeting. We would have had synergy in ideas and energy, knowing that we were going to come back with maybe another look at it, another perfected look at it. But anyway, long story short, as an implementer, it's hard sometimes to not get that aha and still stay on track and not feel cheated. But also, like you said, to find the harmony in problem solving skill sets when they come from different perspectives.
And I think one of the things that you're saying here is that while the task wasn't ambiguous, the conversation was ambiguous. And so, ambiguity is everywhere. It's all around us all the time. That is our starting point. As creative leaders, we accept that as the beginning and the end to everything, right? There's lots of ways you could have handled that conversation. There's lots of entry points, there's lots of exit points, and the conversation could go in any number of ways. You now, with this awareness that people show up differently in problem solving, gives you the opportunity to then facilitate again as a leader and use the language. Are we clear? Is it good? Is the task clear? Do you need any more information? So then to get what you need so that you know that he's on task, because people are going to show up innately how they will, and it's our job as leaders to understand that and to have that information so that we can then help them to move forward, but also in our own mind understand, okay, we're on track. They may not have given it to me the way I wanted, which is why I need to have that language and that knowledge for understanding that it is going to be ambiguous and people do show up differently. And so that's where I need to be able to overcome that with language that helps to move it forward, if for nobody else's benefit than your own, which is, I think, what you needed in this case.
Well, and the benefit was the when I understood that he understood and that we actually were on the same page, that transcends into other conversations and to other relationship engagements where we're talking about business one way or another. I understood there's maybe more synergy than we thought, but it certainly made me feel better about our current situation and made me understand that there's maybe more synergies between us than I really thought.
And that's really important too, to realize what a great insight that you really want to stay focused on the problem rather than the person, right? If this guy did not give you really sort of any feedback, visual cues that he was on board, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going off on a different path. It means that that's how he communicates, consciously or not. And so that is your skill to be able to read that and to understand him as a problem solver and then keep moving. But the insight of knowing that that ambiguity is always going to be there, and so taking a breath, stepping back, and being aware that while he might not show up for you as you want, you have the understanding of how he is as a problem solver, which can then help you to move forward.
So, hopefully one day he'll see this email and he'll know what kind of a pain in the ass he was to try to meet. But in the meantime, it was a great experiment or experience for me as an implementer to have to work through that and say, he's not getting it. He got it. Well, how did that happen, right?
What would you have done in an earlier lifetime or in a parallel universe if somebody would have not given you feedback that they understood a task and then gone away and done it? How would you have felt?
Well, so interestingly, I had somebody tell me, can't you give somebody about two chances and then you're done with them forever. You just think, forget it. So probably with this particular engagement, I probably would have just been, done with it. Just
Mm.
look, forget about it. No, I don't even want to engage anymore with you. Just forget about it. and not in necessarily a mean way. Just avoid it. Just forget about it. It's not beneficial. But what I learned is it was beneficial, and by staying in it, now I have this feeling of there is connection between us. There is some energies between us, and there are similar understandings of the accounting methodology, and so well worth doing, well worth engaging. But yes, for an implementer to be thwarted by the no comment
Mm.
philosophy, or that no, I got it, or I'm looking at you, boss, I got it, to get thwarted by just the silence of it's hard for me.
And so the innovative mind at work is a mind of continually being open to what might be. That's the ticket. That's right. Good. Let's get that man assessed. Nice talking to you.